This video's agenda is to understand what is database and why do we need it, and what is DBMS. We are just trying to answer only these two questions. This is just an overview about database and DBMS. It's not an in-depth session. To learn SQL, it would be good if we know the basics of database and DBMS. That is what we will be looking at today. Before going into what is database, let's understand why do we need database. To answer this question, let's take one simple example. You are online business. Probably you will be having an account with Amazon or any other e-commerce website. How do the companies store the data? It's not possible for companies to hire a person and note down the orders, customer details, product related information in a sheet of paper. This is like next to impossible task. Your ticket booking system, Facebook or any other application needs to store your data, your information, your personal details like name, email ID, phone number, all other information it would like to store. It's not like once you store the data and say suppose today you have created a Facebook account and you have one or two friends. It will not be like after 1 month also you will be having one or two friends. So it has to keep updating. Once you create it, it is not like it is done. No, it has to keep updating. And these are the places where a database comes into picture. All the informations are stored in a DB. This is the short form for database. This is the reason why we need database. We need to store the data and manipulate it if required. It's not like you just store the data, you need to access the data also. All these requirements is fulfilled by the database. Database is a systematic collection of data and it supports electronic storage and manipulation of data. In the database, the data can be easily accessed, managed, modified or updated depending on your requirement. There are many types of databases. The one which we will be learning in our future session is RDB, Relational Database. In case of relational database, the data will be stored in the form of table. Okay, there are a couple of terminologies with respect to table. Let's see that. Each individual blocks in this table is called as cell or field. This vertical structure which I am marking now is called as column. Actually, this is called column. The column will have name. For example, this is the username, email ID, phone number, location. So name is a column, email ID is a column, phone number is a column, like that. This horizontal one is called as row. Now let's see who are the users of this database. The users are data analysts. They have to definitely fetch the data from the database and analyze it. And then data scientist, software engineer, web developers. Now let's see what is DBMS. DBMS is full form is Database Management System. DBMS is like a software designed to store, retrieve, define and manage the data in a database. It's a technology for creating and managing the DBs. As a user, I will not be knowing how the data is being retrieved from the table. I will just write a select statement and then get the data from the database. But how this is being written inside this database, how it is being managed, how the database is fetching the record from this, how the database is fetching the record when I write the select query. All these things are taken care by the DBMS. Let's take as a data analyst, what I will be doing is I will retrieve the data from the database. and there will be a team who stores the data inside the database. We need not worry about how and where the data is being stored. DBMS will take care of it. The process of writing a query and fetching the data from database is called querying the DB. Now, when I'm communicating with you, I'm using a language to do so. Same way, when I want to query the data in the database, you need to know a query language. Most of the DBs, for example, SQL Server, MySQL, SAP HANA, Oracle DB, all these databases can understand one language called as SQL. This is actually SQL Server. All these DBs can understand SQL. So that is how we communicate with the databases. Obviously, there will be little bit of syntax differences between all these databases. If you know to query one database, it is easy for you to learn how to query in the other database. Almost all the keywords are same: select, group by, where, all that. Just to summarize, we understood database. Database is a place where we store and retrieve the data, where we store the data and retrieve the data from. And then DBMS will take care of how the data is being stored inside the database. Almost all the databases can understand a query language called as SQL. As a database user, you will write a query and fetch the data from the database. This process is called as querying the DB. This is very basic about DB and DBMS, whatever we need to know to learn the SQL. We can actually spend hours and hours together to understand the in-depth about the databases, but to learn SQL, I guess this much is enough. So in the future session, we will be installing the SQL. I will be using MS SQL Server. We will learn about the SQL. In case if you like this content, please consider subscribing it, and thank you for watching. Thank you.